The Gold Cup is here. Yay! Didn't really arrive with the cavalcade of enthusiasm right before the tournament starts. Arguably the best player in the competition, Alphonso Davies, is injured and he's out of the Canada squad. If it wasn't Davies is not the biggest star in this tournament, then it was Chucky Lozano, and then he suffered a really grotesque head injury in the opener for Mexico. He is out 4 to 6 weeks. He is out of the Gold Cup. Curacao, my surprise team, completely out after getting hit hard by COVID. So not really just washing you over with all that enthusiasm that you would have liked. Still, it's just the beginning. And that's the other issue. And it's not the Gold Cup's fault, but we were all watching the Euro Championship at Wembley, and it felt like a big World Cup final. There's no question. I can argue about it, but that felt like a World Cup final. That was a huge event. It felt bigger than the France-Croatia game we saw in 2018. So you go from that to a third full stadium in Kansas City under the clouds between Canada and Martinique. We know how the Gold Cup is, and we're going to grow into it. But it was a bit of a, you're like, ooh, it was like my friend Juan Arango said on Twitter, it's like going from a Ferrari to a go-kart. And I'm not calling the Gold Cup a go-kart, but that was a Ferrari we saw earlier today of an event in a game. But here we are. The Gold Cup's going to get sole billing at this point here in soccer. We'll have to see if we can maintain the audience. Certainly the USA, that will be determined if the US do well. By the way, this is the Gold Cup. After every USA game, I'll be here with a report. I want to get your feedback so we can discuss some of the things we're talking about. And while you're here, please subscribe. Also, like and share the video. Go ahead and do that. So I did want to make it a little bit more, engage with you a little bit more here. So Puckhead48E, when I told him I was doing this video, said, Max, be brutally honest. And I want to be brutally honest. By the way, I am wearing the 2015 away jersey. I don't wear a lot of jerseys, but found this. It's very tight on me, even though I have lost weight since 2015. But I don't know if you can tell. It's nice and soft. So what can we be brutally honest about? This was a disappointing performance. But the way we are looking at this, A, they did get the victory. B, they are looking for a collection of players, 4 or 5, that can help, maybe more than 4 or 5, that can help the team in September and moving forward in World Cup qualifying. So, yeah, there's some alarm bells ringing, but we can be brutally honest. I know it's all around what I'm going to call the MLS Rat Pack, and that's Sebastian Lletget, Jackson Yueill, Jonathan Lewis, Sam Vines, maybe Kellen Acosta in that group. The people are like, oh no, these guys have had their chance. They haven't really delivered. Well, a couple of them did. I defend Jackson Yueill a lot. Gianluca Busio came in, and he was really good. The pace just picked up. He's a really sexy footballer, too. He's like a legit Pirlo for us, the way he hits those balls around. He takes some risks. I love it. I think he should be there, and I hope that's something that we take out of it. So I think Jackson Yueill, and he's had a lot of opportunities. I don't think he's ever been put in a really good situation for success. I don't think he's, on the same account, a 20-man senior national team player. Maybe just on the fringe. I've seen him do some incredible things with the Earthquakes, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he should be in there. Lletget played well. Acosta played well. Sam Vines got the goal. Didn't really play well. His crosses were very poor, so I can certainly put him in that category. Jonathan Lewis, I don't get it either. He had so many chances to take on players one-on-one, and he was dispossessed or couldn't get through. You got to have guys that can do that, especially wingers. So Puckhead48E, what I would say is that maybe we have to adjust the formation a bit. And they went to a back 3 there, played with Daryl Dike coming in with Jossie Zardes. Maybe Gioacchini came in, who was also more of a forward. You got to play to your strengths, right? So maybe that's something we can do as well. I'm pulling out my phone so I can address this other tweet from... was it Matt Williams? Here, Matt, I'm pulling it up. I should have had this ready. But we're just doing everything on the fly. Exactly on the fly. So, great, I can't. Oh, here you go. Zimmerman, Acosta, Lletget, Moore, and Busio were all good. That's really as many useful players as you need from this roster moving forward. DK will be better. Would really love to see another valid option at left back, though. George Bello. I think he should get a shot because Sam Vines wasn't doing. But Matt, I agree with you, everything across that board. We got to look at those players that are going to help us in World Cup qualifying. And we got to see when opportunities come in. DK was but he will get better. I will also add Matt Turner there. There was a little shaky thing at the end where he was fouled, but he looked very confident. When balls were crossed in, he was there. He's got a great set of hands. His distribution will get better also. So I feel good about enough things. Now, there are some issues to deal with. The transition game is non-existent, and I kept finding the U.S., when they would get a couple balls in, would work themselves into dead ends. Some of the fouls were pretty poor. They got some yellow cards there. And if you look at the stats, obviously the U.S. had the edge in possession and shots, but Haiti was kind of close. It wasn't a huge disparity. Passes, they were there as well. The transition game, obviously a big concern with that. Haiti was also shorthanded coming into this, having lost a few players, I believe 5 in total. This was a team that made the semifinals of the Gold Cup 2019. Still, the way the U.S. started, they really should have distanced themselves, and they never really did. And then they got into a slugfest, and then Haiti started taking control of that. The one-on-one battles were really disappointing maybe from the 25th minute to about the 75th minute, that Haiti really were dictating terms there. We saw substitutions, and this is going to be something that's going to bail the United States out in many cases in this competition. And they got a pop every time. First, it was DK and Busio. And Busio settled in pretty nicely. And he stood out, and he seized that opportunity. He made a couple of no-look passes, all in on Busio, 19 years of age, playing at his home park. You start having enough reasons, he has got to be in there. Daryl DK played with Jossie Zardes. By the way, DK looks great when he gets out there. He's a bull, and there's ways we can use him. So then the next group was Eric Williamson and James Sands. Obviously, Nico Gioacchini came on in the first half for Paul Arriola, who continues to have this really horrible run of form. It doesn't sound like an injury. Doesn't sound like an injury that will keep him out, but with the record he has injury-wise, can you really depend on him? But Gioacchini came in, was okay, came out as subbed again, and Eric Williamson and James Sand popped into the game. I think there was enough from that bench to certainly give you some food for thought. This is obviously going to come down to the winger situation and how that grows out of it. I thought Shaq Moore, as Matt pointed out, was the one guy that actually beat guys on one-on-one. So I would love to see more of that. And he came in just because Reggie Cannon was a late scratch to the competition. So it wasn't a great day. It could have been so much worse. Imagine Haiti score there at the end. I think the one thing that worries me the most, Mexico struggled in their opener. The U.S. really struggled in their opener. Mexico just got a point against Trinidad and Tobago. And if you're having a ranking, Haiti ranks much higher than TNT, who've been in really poor form over the last few months. But the team that didn't struggle was Canada. And they play the United States next Sunday. And Canada fell behind and had 4 really nice goals. They ping it around, keep the ball on the floor. They had some pop off their bench as well. And remember, no Alphonso Davies, no Jonathan David. Right now, if you just are dealing with the eyeball test, you figure Canada's going to win this group. It's very possible. The U.S. has to get a lot better. Now they have Martinique, and we have to see that improvement. And we can't see that same 11. I think, obviously, Jackson Ewell, when he comes out for Gianluca Busio, Jonathan Lewis can't come back in as a starter. Maybe this is a game you start Daryl DK instead of Jossie Zardes. Kellen Acosta in the MLS Rat Pack stays in there. I thought he did very well. He had that one bad turnover where he got the yellow card, but otherwise, good. Walker, Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, solid. More so Zimmerman, who puts out a lot of fires and gives you that commanding presence. I don't think they faced a corner kick, but when you face corner kicks and crosses between Turner and Zimmerman, there is a safety there. So there you go. I just don't want to touch this too much because you got to give these teams a chance to get into it. It's an opening game, which you're supposed to they're supposed to be a bit of a grind. Again, this is, when you look at this team though, they put out a very experienced 11 that have logged a lot of caps And I would think that after everything Haiti's been through, that they would have hit the ground running. They actually did on the goal, and then they disappeared. This is the team that you put out there you don't want to see an opening game hiccup from. Because you have the younger guys, the inexperienced guys that didn't start, and now you turn to them. I would have loved to have seen Matthew Hoppe. Didn't get to see him. But that experienced group, that was the most experienced group that Greg Berhalter could have put out there, and it didn't really deliver. So we will look forward to the next game, Martinique on the 14th of this month, just really a couple days away, and we will have a recap after all of that. Soccer OG, subscribe, rate, and review. We're okay here, but a long way to go. And remember, the number one criteria of the Gold Cup is finding 6 or 7 players to put on that World Cup roster.